Hey YouTube, Jeremy right here, setting up a natural 20-gallon tank. Soil under sand. I had a buddy help me with this, and we kind of dumped things. We made a mess of the soil. As a result, a lot of stuff came loose, some of the organics. So I'm showing you a skill that not many people really talk about in aquatics. Skimming. Watch. Just slightly below the surface and dip. Move over, go slightly below the surface and dip. Everything that's floating will be trapped in your skimmer. I go dump this stuff on a potted plant, so pause. Okay, so dumped a little bit, time to skim some more. Boom. This is really useful for duckweed, all kinds of stuff. Now, I use it frequently in tanks that don't have filters and develop a little bit of surface skim. So let me show you some of that. These are some of my water jars. They would be window jars if they were in a window, but surfaces of things like this that don't have filtration will get bits of what we call biofilm. It's proteins and all kinds of stuff. Here's a good example. This one's got stuff on it. There's no filter in it. So the way you remove this is using the skim technique. You get a small container, go slightly below the surface, and allow that stuff to fall into your smaller container that you're dipping. So skimming, super useful. I use it in several of these. I use it in tanks that don't have filters. These do, but the jars don't. So small things like cups that you would use to rinse your mouth with, really beneficial. Pausing. And back at this tank, I will use the skim technique to remove all of this floating scuzz that came loose when we had a mishap pouring water into the tank. There's a 2-inch sand cap, or maybe it's an 1.5 inch sand cap, but we just made a mess filling this one. We spilled it. So it's much messier than most of these tanks start out. No problem, we'll use the skim technique and remove this stuff. It also works really well for duckweed. You can remove all of the duckweed in the tank using skimming. And yeah, something to put into your tool chest.